What if events went differently, and instead of chasing vengeance, Inertia, the clone of Bart Allen and the one of the Flash family's deadliest enemies, was given something he never expected, a second chance? Welcome back, fellow watchers of the multiverse. My name is Max Charlebois, aka MissedThePart, and today we officially launch Flash Week on the channel, with a story full of speed, tragedy, and redemption. This multiverse tale was requested and developed by Coyne, one of our longtime supporters and a proud monthly Watcher tier member. Ian not only helped shape this emotional storyline, but he has a dedicated episode to a fellow friend, creator, and watcher, Gotham Knight Todd. This one's for you, Todd, so thank you for being a part of our multiverse. In this timeline, some of the events unfold differently. And if you're watching this thinking, I got a themed week idea too, you can make it happen. By joining the monthly Watcher tier, you'll get early access to episodes and the opportunity to collaborate directly with us to build out a full themed week, just like Ian did. Want to go further? We have the Watcher 5 tier and the Watcher of the Multiverse tier. So again, we really appreciate any sort of support as it continues to help out the channel as a whole, and again, I can't thank you guys enough. So that being said, let's dive right into what if the Flash family redeemed Inertia.
The air inside the Flash Museum is still, too still. Even the usual hum of Speed Force energy that quietly reverberates through Keystone and Central City seems distant here, muffled by grief. Days have passed since the death of Bart Allen, the boy who briefly carried the mantle of the Flash and died before his time. The halls of the museum have become a tomb, not just to fallen heroes, but to the hope they once represented. In the center of the memorial wing, enclosed in a stasis chamber, shaped like a coffin of light, is Thaddeus Thawne, Inertia, frozen at the exact moment of his capture by Wally West, a twisted snarl of guilt and fear locked in time. Wally stands before the chamber, expression unreadable. He's returned from the Speed Force only to find the world broken. Bart is gone, Barry is struggling to reconnect, and the city doesn't quite feel like home anymore. His wife, Linda, tries to keep him anchored, but grief has hollowed out a part of him that no speed can outrun. What keeps him coming back here, night after night, isn't revenge. It's something worse. Regret. For not being faster. For not being there. For failing Bart. Just like he believes he once failed Barry. Iris West visits Thad's chamber every night, just after midnight. She brings a folding chair, sits in front of the glass, and talks. She tells Thad stories about Bart, about his laugh, his awkward heroism, his boundless energy. She reads passages from Bart's journals. She cries. She pleads. Even though Inertia cannot hear, she hopes something of Bart might remain, something worth saving. The others think she's grieving, but in truth, she's planting a seed, a belief that Thad's fate doesn't have to end in punishment, and something begins to stir. Unbeknownst to them, Reverse Flash, Eobard, Thawne, is moving through time again, unseen, manipulating variables. He considers Thaddius an unworthy branch of his legacy, a clone with wasted potential, but now he sees opportunity. He begins rewriting time in microfractures, nudging events toward his desired future. One where Thad rises not as a fallen clone, but as a perfected heir. The Speed Force senses this corruption and responds with instability inside Thad's stasis cell. The containment unit pulses with erratic energy. Time is becoming elastic. Wally, alarmed by the readings, contacts Jay Garrick and Max Mercury. The three examine the anomaly. Max, ever the philosopher of speed, warns them that the Speed Force is not simply energy, it's intent, and right now, It wants change. Jay urges caution, but Iris is the one who makes the decision. Let him out, she says. If there's a chance Bart's soul touched something inside him, we owe him more than this. Wally hesitates. He sees Bart's face when he closes his eyes. He remembers the horror in that warehouse, the broken body of his cousin. But he also remembers what being the Flash means. Redemption, hope, mercy, even when it hurts. And so with trembling fingers, Wally deactivates the chamber. Inertia collapses to the floor, gasping like he's drowning in air. His eyes scan the room wildly. Confusion, fear, guilt, then silence. I should be dead, Thaddeus whispers, staring at Wally like a ghost. You were, Wally replies. Now prove you didn't deserve to be. Thaddeus Thawne awakens into a world that feels foreign, colder than he remembers. Not because the temperature has dropped, but because everything familiar is gone. He wanders the interior of the Flash Museum, now an eerie monument to people he barely understands. Hallways of heroes, Jay Garrick, Bart Allen, Wally West, Bart Allen, line the walls like accusations. He sees Bart's display, lined with blue and gold. His face, his laughter captured in still frames, his Flash uniform in a glass case. It's like looking in a mirror that judges him. And yet, for all the discomfort, Thad doesn't run. The Flash family has made a quiet but monumental decision to try and raise Thaddeus, not just contain him, not just reform him, but guide him as if he were one of their own. They don't speak about it openly, not yet, but it's there in the way Wally takes time to explain the house rules instead of barking orders. It's in Jay's patience when Thad missteps. It's in Iris's quiet presence, her warm meals, her refusal to give up on him. Max Mercury watches the boy carefully, offering the kind of teaching that doesn't come from scolding, but reflection. Speed is not freedom unless you know where you're going, he tells Thad after a meditation session. You've spent your whole life running from things. Try walking towards something. But Thad is haunted. In his dreams, he hears Bart, not as a taunt, not as a ghost seeking vengeance, but as a presence, one that laughs with him, urges him to choose differently. Bart appears in flashes of memory, sometimes speaking lines Thad doesn't remember hearing. It isn't clear if it's real or imagined, and that scares him even more. I'm not supposed to have a conscience, he tells himself. I'm a Thawne. And yet there's a voice in him now that sounds a lot like Bart, asking why not try. The public doesn't take kindly to the experiment. Protesters appear outside the museum when word leaks that Inertia is no longer in suspended animation. The rogues are furious. Captain Cold, already spiraling from the guilt of Bart's death, sees Thad's release as betrayal. We're villains, not monsters, he tells Heatwave. But if they let him walk around in that city again, we finish it. Meanwhile, Bart Thawne is furious. Watching from fractured points in time, he curses the softness of the Flash family. He sees Thad's potential, unrealized, impure, wasted, and worse. Thad's flickering light threatens to unravel the carefully cultivated mythos Eobard has built over decades. Thaddeus was supposed to be a symbol of corruption, proof that Bart's optimism was futile. Now he's a variable, and that must be corrected. Eobard begins subtly warping timelines around the West family, flickering memories, fractured realities, micro-changes designed to erode trust. One day, Wally forgets where Iris keeps the photo albums. Another day, Jai wakes up with a different memory of how Bart died. The Speed Force quivers under the strain. Wally suspects Eobard immediately and warns the others. They begin prepping for a possible incursion, but Thad sees it first. He sees it in a mirror, his own reflection twisting into something crueler, something older. Eobard appears behind him, not physically, but as a warped projection bleeding into the present. You're wasting your potential, Reverse Flash hisses. They'll never love you. They'll never trust you. But I can make you whole. I can give you a future. Thad, terrified, races to Wally and tells him everything. To his surprise, Wally doesn't flinch. Good, Wally says. Then you know what's coming. Now we prepare. The training intensifies. Wally teaches Thad to use the Speed Force not just as a weapon, but as a tether to the present, a grounding mechanism. Jay teaches him combat. Max teaches restraint, emotional regulation. They all treat him as someone worth saving. Slowly, painfully, Thad begins to believe it too. But belief doesn't come without cost. One night, while patrolling with Jesse Quick, Thad intercepts a temporal spike near the outskirts of Keystone. What he finds horrifies him. Rogue versions of Bart Allen, twisted echoes from corrupted timelines, memories turned into weapons. Eobard has unleashed simulacrums, malformed time clones that replay Bart's worst moments over and over. His last breath, his death scream, the helplessness in his eyes. Thad is paralyzed until one of the echoes turns to him and says, "You were always the mistake." He screams and unleashes a kinetic blast that wipes out the echoes. Jesse grabs him afterwards, shaken. "You okay?" she asks. "No," Thad answers honestly, "but I want to be." That night, he dreams again. Bart stands beside him, this time not judging, just waiting. "You can be better," Bart says. "How?" Thad whispers. "By stopping him. Not for me. For you." The next day, Wally calls the family together. The timeline is collapsing. Eobard is accelerating his plan. The final battle is coming, and Inertia, once a villain frozen in guilt, now volunteers to lead the charge. The sky above Keystone fractures like glass as the time stream rips open, jagged and unstable. Fragments of alternate timelines rain down across the city like spectral lightning. Some glowing with heroic triumph, others pulsing with unimaginable despair. It's not the future or the past, it's all of it bleeding into the now. People see ghosts of themselves, alive, dead, never born. Chaos erupts, and standing at the center of it all, wearing a twisted grin, is Bart Thawne, Reverse Flash, the timeline's great saboteur, warping reality with every heartbeat. The Flash family rallies. Wally leads the charge with Jay and Jesse Quick at his side. Barry returns from the time stream, pulled into the moment by the disruption. Even Linda, protective of her family to a fault, helps organize civilian evacuations. But the one who steps forward first, without hesitation, without orders, is Thaddeus Thawne. Not as a soldier, not as a clone, not as a mistake, as a person. He races into battle ahead of the others, red and white lightning trailing behind him in raw, unstable arcs. The city bends around him, streets becoming temporal slipstreams, buildings flashing between ruins and monuments. Eobard meets him with a sneer. "You think because they've forgiven you, you're not a Thawne?" Eobard hisses, his yellow-suited form vibrating with impossible malice. "You are me. You always will be." Thad doesn't answer. He punches Eobard straight through a warping echo of the Flash Museum. It erupts in shimmering dust, and suddenly, they're fighting across timelines, not metaphorically, but literally. One moment they crash through the rooftop of Titan's tower during Bart's funeral. The next they're in the lab where Barry was struck by lightning. Every blow is met with a memory. Every scream echoes a legacy. The Flash family struggles to keep the time stream stable, barely holding ground against the rupturing paradoxes. But Wally can see it clearly. This battle, this moment, was never his to win. It was always Thad's. At the height of the chaos, Eobard unveils the true horror. A collapsing time prism powered by the distorted remains of Bart Allen's essence. stolen from the moment of his death. The prism refracts grief, turning it into reality warping energy. "I've rewritten your beginning, boy," he snarls. "You were born to be my shadow." Thad, shaking, sees Bart inside the prism, flickering in agony, not dead, not alive, but trapped, a ghost stretched between moments. And then the impossible happens. Bart speaks. It's not a memory, not an echo. Bart's consciousness, preserved in the Speed Force, fueled by Thad's own transformation, reaches out. "You don't have to do this for me," he says softly, "but I want you to do it with me." The lightning shifts, the prism shatters. Thad and Bart explode outward in twin blurs of light, one gold, one white, and slam into Eobard from opposite sides. The collision folds the timeline inward, dragging Eobard into a quantum snare, a loop where he relives his own failures endlessly, powerless to alter them. Not dead, not victorious, neutralized, the world steadies. The time stream recoils like a deep breath finally exhaled. The Flash family pulls Thad and Bart free from the storm. Wally catches them both. For a moment, there is only silence. Then Bart coughs, alive, real, fully returned. And next to him, Thad sits quietly, eyes wide with disbelief, not at surviving, but at choosing to. Later, at the rebuilt Flash Museum, a new wing is unveiled. A bronze statue of Thaddeus Allen kneeling in reflection sits beside Bart's. Beneath it, the inscription reads, "He didn't rewrite the past, he outpaced it." Bart, now truly himself, places a single hand on the statue and smiles. Thad stands beside him, no longer wearing a villain's colors, but not a traditional suit either. Something new, something his own. Jay pats Thad's shoulder. Jesse nods in quiet respect. Even Barry gives a small, sincere smile. And Wally steps forward, wraps both arms around them, and whispers the words neither boy thought they'd ever hear. "Welcome home."
And that is going to be it for What If the Flash Family Redeemed Inherita. Now, what did you think of this ending with Inherita getting a second chance and becoming an Allen? Now, what did you think of that alternate scenario? Do let me know in the comments down below. And again, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, I can't thank you guys enough for the amount of love and support on the YouTube channel, from watching the videos to requesting in the live streams and just being a part of everything that we're doing here. And again, I want to give a massive community shout out to Ian Coyne. And again, Ian, this video wouldn't have happened without your support. And so that being said, this video was dedicated to Gotham Knight Todd. So thank you guys so much for enjoying the channel and everything that we're doing here on the YouTube channel. Do make sure to check out the YouTube members page as well as the Patreon, as all the funds go directly back into funding more videos like this one, and so that we can get more higher quality videos out there. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you as we continue the Flash Week on the channel. But anyways, peace out.